Welcome to the Great Podcast.
You shut your ass up. You said this is my job. I'm going to do it. Okay.
All right.
Welcome to the Great Podcast, the show where we take a look at the important men and women of history and decide, once and for all, if it is worth all the fuss. My name is Jordan.
And my name's David, if it is worth all the fuss.
Right, they. But, you know.
We got it.
It was pretty good.
Got it in one.
It was close.
You know,
yeah.
we're getting better at this, I think.
Well, we'll see.
We shall see. All right. So this is going to be a long one. Let's hop right into it. Thank you for joining us today for episode 4 of season 1. And before we begin, though, I thought I might explain just a little bit, because I don't think I really explained what we're doing. Like, I explained kind of the format of the show, but so for season 1, this first season that we're doing, we're going to look at important people from the early Roman Empire up until the fall of the West. We're not going to cover every emperor because not every emperor is very interesting. If you want that, you can check out Roman Emperors Totalis Rankium, where they go through every single one, even the really boring ones. We're going to cover the interesting or important ones, and then also a few people who aren't Roman emperors that were tangential to Rome. I won't spoil any of that, but it'll be pretty fun. So there'll probably be about 20 episodes in season 1, and then we will shift focus to a different time period, a different country. Cool?
Perfect.
Anyway, let's pick up where we left off last week. So, blood is running through the streets of Rome. Caligula the Afflicted has been assassinated by a group of praetorians and noblemen.
Finally.
I know. A violent battle rages in the streets as those loyal to Caligula try to get their revenge. And then the people who hate Caligula are trying to murder everyone related to him.
Naturally, right.
Meanwhile, another group of men with swords has breached the palace. Caligula's wife is cut down and their infant daughter's head is smashed against a wall. The plan is to wipe out the imperial family, and the Senate even has hopes that they can go back to the Republic of old, which by this point is...
Oh, no.
Like 80 years ago?
Yeah. There's too many people that are like, no. Having that ultimate power thing, that's pretty nice. It's pretty cool.
It is. So while the soldiers hunt through the palaces, there's multiple palaces.
Wow.
While the soldiers hunt through the palace, one of them notices something, a pair of feet poking out beneath a curtain. He pulls back the curtain to find a member of the imperial family. Now, I mentioned this man briefly last episode. Can you take a guess based off the remaining people on the family tree who this is?
No. Is it Claudius?
Mike.
Is it Claudius?
It is Claudius. He's like one of the only ones not crossed off.
It's like,
Do you remember anything about Claudius?
No.
He's the guy who Caligula didn't kill because he thought he was just a fool.
Oh, right.
And just mocked him. He's Caligula's uncle.
Yeah.
And he's about 50 at the time. It is suspected that he had cerebral palsy. That's what we think now is probably what he had, because he limped, he drooled a bit, and he sputtered when he talked.
Yeah, okay.
To them, he was a monstrosity.
Right.
Because how dare you not be perfect?
If you're not a perfect human, what is going on?
Right. So he is the brother to Germanicus.
Right.
Our boy. So he survived simply because Caligula's cruel and wanted to keep him around essentially as his court jester.
Right, to mock him.
Walking joke.
Yeah.
Yep. Because of this, Caligula not only kept him alive, but also didn't view him as a threat to the throne.
Right, yeah, because he was like, what, he can't lead anything. No one's going to like this guy.
Right. But the praetorians saw an opportunity because they don't want to go back to the Republic.
No,
who's going to pay
power.
Them?
Yeah, no.
Like, what?
That's the money.
So within a day of Caligula's assassination, Claudius paid each of the praetorians 15,000 sesterces. Yeah, gotta pay those boys.
Oh, wow, that'll do it.
Yep. The Senate was quickly put in their place by the praetorians.
Yeah.
No. What, republics are for nerds.
That's right.
We don't do that here. And Claudius was firmly in place as the new emperor. But Claudius is not who we're talking about today.
What? Did he immediately die? Well, I guess I'll find out.
Yeah, no. I mean, remember, we skipped Tiberius.
That's fair.
And he had a 23-year reign.
Oh, that's true. We're only doing the cool ones, or the interesting ones.
And I was kind of torn on Claudius, but as you'll see, Claudius was around for some important things, but it wasn't really him most of the time doing it.
I mean, to be fair, he was 50 and just kind of put there as a figurehead so the Praetorians could get paid.
Yeah.
So
the first thing he did was went around, captured, and executed Caligula's assassins. Quote, "You may not have liked the dude, but you can't go around killing emperors," end quote.
Well, I mean, he's not wrong.
You don't want those people around.
Yeah, no, that's a fair stance.
Kind of a job security for him there.
Right.
Next, he banned the treason trials. Yay!
Yeah, but actually,
yay!
okay, all right.
We've heard this a couple times.
We did.
But yay, they're gone.
Wow.
Along with this, he undid many of the unpopular stuff much of the unpopular stuff that Caligula had been up to. He returned confiscated wealth. He repealed certain legislations that were very unpopular and destroyed Caligula's extensive poison collection, which apparently he had. Yeah.
A little strange. I stumbled upon this, sir. What do you want to do with that?
I'd get rid of it. Poison sounds dangerous.
Yeah, we should probably just dispose of that, huh?
Yeah, just pour it down the sewer. Isn't that where the drinking water is? No.
God, I hope not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good. The assassination left him quite fearful, as one might expect.
Also fair.
He was no tyrant like Tiberius or Caligula, but, you're an emperor and there's threats. You're gonna die. It's definitely gonna handle happen. He was swift and violent in any reprisal that he had against threats. So
yeah, all right.
Much of this fear may have been encouraged by Claudius's wives and freedmen, which, when I said that most of it was other people, it'd be his wives and his freedmen.
So wives at the same time, or just like
no.
Just throughout time?
Let's talk about his first wife. Might not have been his first, actually, but the first one while he's emperor.
Gotcha.
I actually don't remember if he had one prior. Messalina. When he ascended to the purple, she was pregnant with his first and only son, and the boy was born a month into Claudius's reign. So you'll notice that there's a boy attached to Claudius on the family tree.
Will I?
Yes, I think.
I see two women.
The little boy on the bottom right of the...
Oh, that's a boy name. Okay.
Yeah, Britannicus.
Sure. Okay.
Yes. Which is kind of a hint as to what happens during Claudius's reign.
Yeah.
So let's go into Messalina a bit. She was not nice. She was not a nice person. She used her power as wife to the emperor and mother to the heir to have lots of people killed. Anyone that she saw as a threat to her son.
Well, yeah, I got to preserve that bloodline.
Oh, yeah. Not going to happen. So Julia Livilla, who is one of the sisters of Caligula.
Okay.
Remember, she had been exiled for plotting to kill Caligula.
Yes.
Along with one of her other sisters, Agrippina.
Yes.
So both of them were brought back when Claudius ascended. And very quickly, Julia Livilla was re-exiled by Messalina. Like, we're talking within months. And then killed.
She's like, no, I can't have other influence here. Go away.
Just
get out of here.
Get out of here. And on top of the murders, she was also a known adulterer, the thing that she often accused people of to get them executed.
Well,
just,
projection. What are you going to do?
Yeah, she had many lovers, and it appears that Claudius did not know or turned a blind eye to her infidelity.
Yeah.
But then she done messed up. 7 years into Claudius's reign, Messalina married one of her lovers, Gaius Silius.
Okay, just openly?
You might be asking yourself, what do you mean she married him? Isn't she married to the emperor?
Yeah,
And your confusion is well-founded.
Right, okay.
It's unclear even to historians and people of the time what she hoped to accomplish. So Claudius was off doing a religious ceremony out of the city.
Okay.
Like nearby.
Yeah.
And just got word that she had married this guy.
Hey, sir, so, your wife just married someone else?
Well, that can't be. We're married. Yeah, that's what we thought.
Right. We're on the same page here.
And it's strange because, this was clearly a play for power. But she was already the empress and
had
mother
the
to
power.
the heir.
Yeah, she had, all of the power.
Right. So very strange. Claudius was already a very fearful man. Now he's, in his late 50s and figured this is it. The crazy bitch finally did it. And now I'm going to lose.
Was she just hoping that this new husband would somehow just take power?
Yeah. We don't
really know and this isn't.
He had some power. He was an influential man, but doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
All right.
Fortunately, Claudius didn't give up because he had his freedmen around him who were basically running the show. And they took matters into their own hands. They rushed him off to the Praetorian camp so he could be safe. And then they brought Silius before him, where he was promptly executed.
Well,
they thought about it a little, and they're like, maybe we don't bring Messalina to him and we just kill her here, because he'll probably pardon her.
Oh, yeah.
Because she'll probably convince him to.
Yeah,
so they did that.
So they're just like, nah, we'll take care of it. We got you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how she fell down the stairs. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, we were bringing her here and she tripped and fell on the sword.
A lot.
I don't know how she had a sword, but... So, to save on time, we'll gloss over the rest of his reign because it's not super relevant. He did some good stuff with finances and the courts. He put on lavish games. He completed the conquest of Britain.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep,
yeah.
and handed down the title of Britannicus to his son.
There you go.
Just like Germanicus had. He also added some other provinces to the empire. This is about the only big expansion in the first century of the empire.
Oh, so like semi-notable.
Yeah. He just didn't do much of it himself.
Well, I don't think he could.
So the last important bit we must discuss is his final marriage. So take a look on the family tree and find Agrippina the Younger.
Yep.
Okay. What is her relationship to Claudius?
What was niece?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Agrippina the Younger is sister to Caligula.
Yeah.
And niece to Claudius. So now they got to get married.
Oh, he married his niece?
Pretty gross.
It's a little close.
Yeah, a bit too close for comfort.
Also with someone who already has some issues.
Yeah. Agrippina was a lot like Messalina. We're talking like we could do an episode on Agrippina because she's been through so much.
Yeah.
That we've kind of glossed over. She was vicious and ambitious, hence how she got married to her uncle.
Right.
You'll also notice that she has a son.
Yes.
Already, who is not Claudius's son.
Correct.
Lucius Domitius. And she really wants him to be the heir.
Naturally. Yeah, right. It's her kid.
Through manipulation and an affair with one of Claudius's powerful freedmen, she got her wish.
I'm shocked.
And Claudius adopted the boy, granting him the family name Nero.
Oh, hey, there you go. I know that guy.
Yeah, so that's who we'll be talking
All right.
about. Shortly after, to tie up the incest tree nicely, Nero was married to Claudius's daughter Octavia.
Oh, good.
Yes.
That's cousin. That's right.
Yes. Great. First cousin. Yeah.
Well, at least neither of those kids are the kids of Agrippina and did Claudius and Agrippina have any children together? Okay, good. All right.
Yep, we're okay.
Some weird ass genetics. At least they're only cousins.
And spoiler, Octavia and Nero don't have any kids either.
All right. So, well, at least the genetics aren't getting real messed up.
Yeah. So now, with Nero named heir as still a child, all that was left was for Claudius to die.
You're right, and maybe Britannicus to disappear.
Well, don't jump ahead.
I'm just saying, natural, bloodlines here.
Now, Agrippina was thinking, why leave these things to chance?
Yeah,
She got a poisoner to do some naughty things to a mushroom and fed it to the emperor. Soon the old man was having a nasty bout of vomiting and diarrhea. But just to be sure, Agrippina sent a doctor with a poisoned feather, which Claudius then used to try and make himself vomit more.
A feather?
Like stick it down your throat. And
you have a hand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why are you sticking a feather down your throat?
Yeah, well, he probably wishes he hadn't.
Yeah.
So he died in 54 AD. He had about a 13-year reign.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed like a decent fellow. Yeah,
wasn't well liked by the people, but
whatever.
Yeah,
he did not destabilize the government or the empire, and he expanded it a little bit.
Right.
So
it was good.
Yeah.
I was torn on whether or not to do an episode on him, but you just got the cliff notes.
Yeah, that's fine.
So now that you know that we're discussing Nero, what do you know about Nero?
Nothing. Just the name. I'm sure when you say things, I'll remember some stuff, but off the top of my head, I just know the name Nero.
He's definitely one of those, like, if you walked up to someone and said, name a Roman emperor, they'd first wrongly say Julius Caesar, and then they'd probably say Nero.
Right.
That's probably what would happen. And then they would go, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And then there's like two famous quotes that once I say them, you'd be like, yes, that.
It feels like, just for the way he came into power and his mother, is going to be a wild trip.
Oh, just wait. Yeah, it's a good
That's what
sign.
it feels like.
All right, so let's take a look at Nero's early life. He was born December 15th, 37 AD, to his mother Agrippina the Younger, who is, again, sister to Caligula and niece to Claudius. That makes Nero Caligula's nephew. Yeah, follow me?
Yes.
Okay. And then his father was a man named Gnaeus Domitius Ahenobarbus.
All right.
It's a badass name. Apparently, brute of a man. Violent,
Sounds like it.
Mean, nasty. Suetonius claims he, quote, enjoyed chariot races and theater performances to a degree not befitting his position, which is
All right.
a criticism that will be levied against Nero as well. Apparently, Augustus publicly criticized his enjoyment of violence and the gladiatorial games. So, like, dude was a known kind of dickhead brute.
Yeah. It was like, I need you to stop cheering for death all the time.
Just calm down, bro. He also was heard to say that any child born between himself and Agrippina would have a vile nature and be a threat to the public. Yeah. He's just like, if I'm an asshole, she's a crazy power-hungry bitch. This is not going to go well. Or perhaps Suetonius just likes a good bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Fun note from Suetonius. When Nero was born, Caligula was given the chance to name the baby. And he looked over at Claudius, the court punching bag, and declared the boy should be called Claudius as an insult.
What?
Yeah.
Rude.
Fortunately, didn't happen. At least in Agrippina's eyes, it was
Yeah.
fortunate. In 39 AD, Nero's mother was involved in the plot of the Three Daggers. This was the plot last week involving Lepidus, Agrippina, and her sister Livilla that then got them exiled.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
The plot was found out. Lepidus was executed. The two sisters were stripped of their fortunes and sent into exile. Meanwhile, Nero was stripped of his inheritance and sent off to live with an aunt. He was around 2, so probably doesn't recall this at all.
How dare he?
And then 1 year later, his father died of dropsy, which is what we were talking about the other day, which is edema. You just swell up and die.
Yeah, well, fluid retention kind of makes your lungs and heart stop working properly.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Yeah,
It's really inconvenient.
it really is.
Then, in January of 41 AD, Caligula found himself on the wrong side of some swords.
Yeah, well,
Claudius became emperor. He quickly recalled Agrippina and Livilla from exile. So Nero was reunited with his mother and aunt at age 4. And then Livilla was executed. So,
like, get that one out of here.
Claudius's first wife, Messalina, then killed off Livilla. The crime was adultery, but political motivations were likely. The man she was accused of boinking was an important figure for our story, Seneca the Younger.
Okay.
So bear that name in mind. Messalina also feared Nero might replace her son Britannicus as heir. I wonder why she feared that.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Legend
Unfounded.
has it that she sent men to strangle the baby in his crib. So probably more the toddler in his bed at this point. They failed because they saw a snake under the boy's pillow and were like, fuck that noise, I'm out of here. Turns out it was actually a shed snakeskin.
Okay.
And Agrippina had the skin gilded into a bracelet.
Oh, well.
And it's like, why was there a snakeskin?
Yeah, I feel like there's
in a
something
baby's
leaving
bed?
out here. Yeah.
I don't understand. Agrippina, now with a dead husband, made moves on a powerful man named Galba. The dead husband being Nero's dad, if that wasn't clear. Powerful man named Galba. Bear his name in mind as well.
Galba.
However, he did not accept her advances.
He said, nah, you crazy.
You need to stop. So Claudius reinstated Nero's inheritance, and around the same time, Agrippina remarried a man named Crispus. Crispus was very powerful, very rich, and soon very dead.
Well,
leaving his vast fortune to his adopted son Nero, who wasn't called Nero yet, but you know.
Yeah.
The boy was now very wealthy because his dad had also left him lots of money. Nero got to witness his mother's cold, calculated power plays throughout his childhood. After Messalina made the foolish decision to marry a claimant to the throne and got killed, Agrippina wriggled her way in despite being Claudius's niece. From there, she somehow managed to get Nero to set Nero up as the heir. Somehow, did I say that right?
I don't think so.
Okay. From there, Agrippina somehow got Claudius to set Nero up as heir.
Well, there you go. Okay.
That's what I said. This despite Claudius having his own son Britannicus. So Nero was a little older than his stepbrother cousin, but
right. Yes.
But it's still kind of strange that he was like, yeah, you know what? My actual son? No, it's fine. Your kid can do it.
What an idiot.
It was also around this time that the great thinker Seneca was appointed as Nero's tutor. According to Suetonius, the first night after being appointed tutor, Seneca dreamed that Nero became Caligula. He feared the boy would do terrible things. Or, again, Suetonius likes foreshadowing.
Well, yeah.
It's hard to say. In Roman times, there was no set age at which point you were like an adult. Mm-hmm. It was when your family decided that you are now an adult that you would be released into the public life.
Gotcha.
And thus, Nero entered public life as an adult in 51 AD at the ripe old age of 14.
Well, that seems pretty standard for throughout history of an adult age.
It could depend, and it was probably more we need you to start doing stuff because we expect Claudius to die at some point.
Yeah.
He soon began sitting as a judge in the courts and hosting lavish games and celebrations. And soon after, he married Claudius's daughter, Claudia Octavia, his stepsister cousin.
Right. Yes. The good family tree here.
Stepsister cousin wife.
Yeah. Yes.
Is this Alabama? What's going on?
I don't know.
I suppose they wouldn't say step if it was Alabama.
No.
So, now, then Claudius died of a rather sudden bout of poisoned shrooms. So in 54 AD, at 16 years old, Nero became emperor.
Not a good combination.
No. As he was the appointed heir, this went smoothly. And then he went down his checklist of things to do right away.
First, to kill.
No.
Oh, okay.
Address the guard in the Senate and inform them of Claudius's death.
Right.
Be publicly proclaimed emperor.
Okay.
Get carried to the Praetorian camp.
Naturally.
And hands out lots of money to the guys with swords.
Yes. As is tradition now, pretty much. For the rest
it
of
is not even like a question.
Well, no, it's what you do.
This is what you do. You pay the Praetorians and the army a bonus. Or else.
Don't kill me. Keep me safe. Thank you.
Nero gave the eulogy at Claudius's lavish funeral. Mm-hmm. I've noticed that I've used the word lavish a few times.
That's right. It's a good word.
It is. It's quite lavish.
This
speech and those he gave to the Senate were written by Seneca, the Stoic philosopher and tutor. His first speech to the Senate promised to return to the ways of Augustus and an end to the treason trials, which Claudius had definitely started up again.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, but we already...
Yeah, after a few assassination attempts, Claudius was like, I kind of see where they're coming from with these treason trials.
Yeah.
So, no more of that. We're done with that shit. So things were going well. Nero was young, but he had good people around him running the show and advising him. He had Seneca, his Praetorian prefect, Sextus Afranius Burrus, and his mother, Agrippina.
Nope. She crazy.
She's not crazy. She's just really ambitious. She's actually very smart and calculated.
That doesn't make you not crazy.
We've talked a lot about Agrippina. She had married her uncle to secure her son's adoption. It was her doing that led to Nero being appointed heir. She was sister to one emperor, niece/wife to another, and
assassin to one.
Shush. And now mother to a third. Surely this was her time to rule through her son. But their relationship was strained.
I wonder why.
Within the first year of his rule, the 17-year-old had grown tired of his mother's meddling.
Yeah.
He was the emperor.
Yeah, that's right.
Not her.
That's right.
Agrippina would not give it up easily, though. She did whatever she could to stay in power, and rumors abounded that she even had an incestuous relationship with her own son to keep him compliant for as long as she could.
You're 17 and the emperor. How was your mom seducing you?
Yeah,
you could have all of the other young ladies.
Anyone. You could have anybody.
What the fuck?
This should be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of incest going on. So it's a little easier to swallow that pill than if there was no incest and then suddenly mother-son incest.
Right, because that's a jump.
It's getting kind of Game of Thrones in here.
Yeah.
As one might expect of a teenager becoming the most powerful person in the world, Nero acted out.
Yeah.
He would dress up as a freedman and roam the streets and taverns at night, picking fights and jumping people with his friends, including a young man named Otho. another name to bear in mind.
Otho. All right.
He was also sleeping around with lots of people,
Yeah.
including the lowborn and freed women.
I mean, yeah. But
Right,
He's
yeah.
17-year-old emperor. What are you going
Yeah, yeah, I'd go around kicking people's
know.
asses in taverns too.
Yeah, massive power trip and a teenager.
Dude, I cannot imagine being given that much power when I was 17.
No.
Like, dude.
No, I know how stupid I was.
I was a dickhead. Claudia Acti was one of the freed women that he was sleeping with. The sources claim Nero really loved her, and they were passionate about one another. And this obviously infuriated Agrippina.
That's right.
She made sure to stop the two from officially marrying. God. After all, Agrippina had worked very hard to get Nero married to Claudius's daughter.
Oh, that's right. He's married.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Forgot that detail.
He kind of forgot too. Because he despised Claudia and tried to strangle her on several occasions.
Well,
you know.
All happy marriage there.
Yeah.
That's good.
Very happy. Seeing an opportunity to undermine this pushy mother, Seneca and Burrus, the Praetorian prefect, were prepared to lie about Acti's heritage so the two could marry.
Oh, there you go.
And it would have worked, except that they were facing off against probably the most formidable woman in Roman history.
Yeah, she's been around for a minute. She knows a lot.
Yeah, she exposed the plot before it could go through, and people were like, yeah, you can't marry a freed woman. You can't do that.
Stupid societal hierarchy bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. But here we can see the cracks in this trio of people guiding the young, hot-headed man start to form. It's kind of falling apart. Agrippina could see her control over her son slipping. She had wanted to rule, but was rapidly being pushed aside. So she started to plot.
Listen, lady, just chill. You could have just a very lush, comfortable, like anything you want life. Get your hand out of the emperor and just chill.
Yeah.
Enjoy
hand
the
out
country.
of the emperor.
Well, there was incest there, so.
Wearing him like a finger puppet.
Exactly. God.
So she started to plot.
Of course.
She had put Nero on the throne, so perhaps she could get another boy to ascend in his place.
My God, lady.
Who was left alive on that family tree?
Who?
Yeah. Who could be emperor?
I don't remember. Well, did Britannicus die yet?
Nope.
So him.
Yep.
Is she gonna have sex with him too, and then be like, "Hey, I want you to be emperor"?
He's like 13 at the time, so it wouldn't.
I don't think it would stop her.
I don't think it would, but it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
Because when they're that young, you can still manipulate them without sex.
Right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Naive. So son of Claudius, formerly the heir to the throne. Let's put him on the throne.
Yeah, the one that she surpassed with her own kid. And I was like, wait a second. No, okay.
Mistakes were made.
Circle back to you.
You never regretted a decision? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
So one night, the royal family was hosting some high-ranking officials at a banquet. All was going well. Discussion and laughter echoed through the spacious rooms. But then, 13-year-old stepbrother of the Emperor Britannicus began to convulse. Everyone froze, unsure what to do. But Nero calmed them. It's just an epileptic fit. The boy has had this malady his whole life. Just be at ease. This will pass soon. The room kind of settled down. Though it was kind of hard to ignore the catatonic boy sitting next to the emperor. Soon, the rest of the family realized that Nero was wrong.
Oh.
The boy had died.
Oh, he just
at the table.
He just died there.
Nero asked his guards to quietly remove the boy.
Fair. Yeah.
And had him discreetly buried the next day.
Just be like, hey, he's tired. He needs to go rest after that little episode there.
Some may have thought the seizure had killed the boy, but most were not fooled. Least of all Agrippina, who was no stranger to poison.
Right.
And she could now see just how dangerous her position was.
Yeah. You created this monster.
Sure did. Sure did. Nero's relationship with his mother was now rapidly deteriorating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Seneca and Burrus whispered in his ear that it was really poor optics for the emperor's mommy to be telling him what to do.
That's going to get at any teenage boy right there.
Oh, yeah.
You're just going to...
2 years into his reign in 56 AD, Agrippina was officially removed from government affairs and from the palace itself.
Yeah.
A few years passed with Agrippina kind of in the background, but she was still nagging and still plotting.
She needs to learn to chill.
So Nero knew something had to be done, But this portion of the tale is quite confused. Our three main sources for the period are Tacitus, Suetonius, and Cassius Dio.
Mm-hmm.
All of them contradict each other and themselves at times about what happened.
Reliable.
Yeah. So I'm going to share each of their accounts.
Okay.
And then we're going to decide what the true story is.
We can just average all of them out.
Yeah. So we'll start with Suetonius. Okay. So Agrippina had annoyed the 21-year-old to no end.
Yeah.
She was controlling and overly critical of her son. He vented his frustrations initially by bullying her. So he had her removed. He removed her bodyguards and revoked her titles and privileges. And whenever she went out in public, he paid people to harass and catcall her. And even paid people to bring lawsuits against her just to make her life annoying. Still, Nero feared his mother. Rightfully so. As we have seen, she was not one to be trifled with.
Mm-hmm.
Suetonius claims he then settled on a difficult fact. Agrippina had to die.
Right.
Yeah. He attempted to poison her 3 times, but she saved herself with antidotes because she don't play.
Yeah, she knows poison, all right? She's smart.
She's very smart. Then he considered putting a false ceiling in her room. A mechanism would then release the ceiling, collapsing it and killing his mother. This plot was revealed before it could be implemented, not to mention it was stupid.
Just pay a man to stab her. Like, what?
You will see that Nero has a flair for the flamboyant.
God.
He is an actor. I haven't mentioned that.
An actor.
He is
All
an
right.
actor and a singer and a poet.
The man of the theater.
Yes.
All right.
That is, we'll talk about that in a bit, but it's important to note that he doesn't do things by half measures.
Right.
Finally, he decided on a boat that was designed to sink. He invited his mother to come visit. When her ship arrived, he instructed the captain to damage their ship. This would give him an opportunity to offer Agrippina his own ship.
Oh, there you go.
This new ship was designed to capsize once out to sea. Nero waited through a restless night to hear if the plan had succeeded. Do you think it worked?
No.
A freedman arrived with news in the morning. He was very happy to report that the Empress had survived this horrible accident.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
She was a very strong swimmer, after all.
Naturally.
The freedman might have expected a relieved emperor.
Yeah.
Instead, he found himself bound and gagged. And Nero placed a dagger next to him and claimed the man had been sent by Agrippina as an assassin. God. On this pretext, he ordered Agrippina arrested and executed.
There you go.
Then told the whole world she had committed suicide. Nero then went to view his mother's corpse. He ordered her stripped naked. Then he examined her body and remarked upon her good and bad qualities. Despite the encouragement of pretty much everybody, they just wanted Agrippina dead.
Yeah.
Like most people in society were like, dude, you can't have her around. He felt very guilty for the rest of his life and claimed that he was haunted by her spirit.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's Suetonius.
Let's take one.
Yep.
All right.
So Tacitus's tale, which is a kind of a hard thing to say.
Tacitus's tale.
Tacitus's tale.
It's a lot of T's.
Yeah. Nero loved a woman named Poppaea Sabina.
Okay.
The two could not marry, partly because Nero was married to Claudius's daughter Claudia, but especially because Agrippina was around.
Yeah.
And she wasn't going to let that happen. And Sabina was also married to a man named Otho.
Okay.
The man who we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Who was a buddy of Nero. Sabina frequently chided her lover for his mother's ever-looming presence. And a quote from Tacitus: "She plied the sovereign with frequent reproaches and occasional raillery, styling him, quote, the ward dependent on alien orders, who was neither the empire's master nor his own."
Okay. All right.
Ruled by his mama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thus, Nero began planning. He considered poisoning his mother or stabbing her.
Right.
But neither plan felt right. They lacked a certain pizzazz. So he settled on crushing her with some rigging on a ship.
Okay.
While she was sailing to meet her son, the rigging, or part of a ceiling, it was kind of unclear of the ship,
Gotcha.
fell down on top of her and her attendants.
Oh, no.
Similar to the room collapsing story. One of these freedmen was crushed. However, Agrippina survived because the couch that she was sitting on had such tall arms that it landed
okay.
it saved her. Once that plan failed, the crew decided, fuck it, let's sink the ship. They succeeded in this. However,
but she's a strong swimmer.
Agrippina's a strong swimmer. Her friend, Acheronia Paula was less so,
Okay.
and she was panicking.
Well, you're gonna drown now.
She screamed out to the lifeboats that she was the Empress. Save me, save me. She's hoped, if they think the Empress is drowning, they'll come save me quicker.
They just left her.
Better. The crewmen rowed up alongside the flailing woman and beat her to death with their oars.
Yeah, you didn't see, but I made the whole take an oar and just push the body
Yeah,
down.
just get out of here.
And you're just gonna
Like the meme from Always
hold you
Sunny where he's
under.
helping someone up
and
and
you
he
just push that hand. There you go.
Agrippina, meanwhile, swam to shore where she was met by a crowd of awed admirers.
Right.
Nero learned of this failing the next day, and he sent assassins to do the old stab her to death play,
Right.
which was much more efficient,
So
if less
boring.
theatrical. Yeah. So that's Tacitus's tale.
But the consistency is a boat set to kill her, and she didn't die.
Yes.
2 accounts of being a strong swimmer.
Yeah, strong
Must
swimmer.
be a strong swimmer.
At one of the stories, I can't remember which, mentioned that she used to dive for pearls.
Oh, okay.
So she was,
Yeah,
in fact, a
yeah.
very strong swimmer.
Well,
Cassius Dio's tale.
here we go.
This one's similar to Tacitus. Sabina is again the catalyst, his love for her. However, Dio mentions that Otho and Nero were buddies, and the two enjoyed beating people up together at night, as we mentioned.
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
where that part comes from.
Dang ruffians out there.
Yeah, and since Nero could not marry Sabina, Otho would marry her, and the two would share her.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the kind of interesting, unique part of Cassius's story. Apparently, she also looked a lot like Agrippina. And Nero boasted that this was precisely why he found her so attractive.
Why would... What?
Yeah.
What?
Sabina
All right, man.
naturally didn't like this,
No.
and so pushed Nero to kill his mother. Seneca also encouraged this because marrying a lesser woman was better than rumors of incest with your mom.
Yeah.
If that had
I'd
gotten
think so.
to the army,
They'd probably just be like, well, guess
time
we're
to kill
guess we're
you.
gonna kill him.
So Nero, while enjoying one of his many shows that he watched, saw a ship at one of the performances that opened by some mechanism and unleashed animals. This was in the arena.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it looked like a capsized ship that let out animals. So he came up with a brilliant idea. Let's make one of those that actually floats and has a bottom that just opens.
Yeah. Meant to
So
sink.
while this is being built, Nero spent the months reconnecting with his mother because their relationship was very strained.
Right, because he needs to set up the scenario to get her on this boat.
Right. So he showed her lots of kindness, love, affection, and regained her trust over several months. When the ship was ready, the two of them set out on it together.
Oh.
They went to a few different cities along the coasts, did a bunch of partying, and then he's like, all right, I'm tired. Well, Mom, if you want to head back, you can take my lovely pleasure barge that we came in on and go home.
So she did.
The ship broke apart, as it was designed to do. Her friend was beaten to death in the waters, and she swam to shore.
All right.
Now, obviously, she knew that this was an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
It became very clear. But she was smart. So she sent a letter to Nero stating that she had survived the horrible, big quotes, accident. Thank God I'm still alive. Thank you for being such a great son. Hugs and kisses.
Yep.
But then she heard that he had killed the messenger. And the jig was kind of up. So when the assassins arrived later that night, she jumped up on her bed, ripped open her clothes to reveal her abdomen, and shouted, "Strike here, for this bore Nero." Her womb, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
After she was dead, he stripped her corpse naked. He was overcome with grief and made the creepy comment, "I did not know I had so beautiful a mother."
You did.
You did. You probably banged her.
You did know. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Let's decide on what really happened. So I think we can agree that the ship happened. The ship sinking seems to be the one thing that everyone agrees on.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems different, but close enough to where there was an attempt to kill her with a ship and it failed. So then he just directly had her killed.
Right. But she committed suicide, obviously.
I mean, you're gonna spin it that way. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking he was in love with Sabina, who was in his ear just like, you got to kill your mom.
Yeah.
You really have to kill your mom. And I think he tried to poison her, but it didn't work because she was too crafty. I like this idea that she just carries antidotes around with her.
Yeah.
And just oh shit,
well,
I don't feel
especially someone who has a history of poisoning.
Right.
She's like, well, maybe I'm messing around with some stuff and accidentally get a little poison on my whatever. I got to be ready.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yep. So then I'm thinking there's actually 2 ships. The first one, he tried to drop the rigging on her.
And you think that's the same sealing ploy of the first story where they got it wrong?
Because like the sealing doesn't seem realistic. Because like to go into her chambers and construct,
to build a fake room essentially.
Yeah. Like I just don't see anyone not noticing. But like some rigging on a ship designed to fall, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
So that was, and she didn't know, and I think that was separate. She didn't know that was an assassination attempt. And then they reconnected. He built a ship to properly sink.
Right.
And then he was finally like, you know what? If you're just gonna keep surviving, I'm gonna just stab you.
So I'm telling you, like he should have just ordered a guy to stab her.
Right.
Like
yeah, it would have been so much easier. Okay, so that's the true story.
Yeah.
Now officially.
Well, I think so. Yeah, they're close enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So with Mommy out of the way and Poppaea pregnant, Nero figured it was high time to divorce the wife he hated, Claudia,
right,
and shack up with Poppaea. He ended his marriage and banished Claudia. And the people were pissed.
Yep.
They loved Claudia.
Ugh.
She was a very sweet woman by all accounts, daughter to the former emperor. Just noble, great, sweet person.
Yeah, just here, being a good person.
Yeah. Nero could see it was getting really bad when the commoners started hauling around statues of the banished woman in protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they would take him everywhere.
Okay.
And just ridicule him. So what do you think he did?
Did he bring back the treason trials?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just kill them all. I don't care.
No. I mean, the only logical option seemed pretty clear.
Bring her back.
Execute her.
Oh my god.
They can't demand she come back if she's dead.
What? That's called a martyr. What are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So yeah, he executed her.
God.
Yeah.
The people are unhappy that I divorced her and exiled her. I should probably kill her.
That'll probably calm them down.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. So up to this point, Nero's reign had actually been regarded as pretty solid. Some historians, I can't remember who, so I'm sorry, but there's someone who claims that the first 5 years of Nero's reign are like the golden years, like the best.
Everything was great for the people. It just was good.
I don't really know why. Like, I mean, things seem to be going fine, but like the actual golden age that most historians claim like is about 80 years away.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, but it was going well. He had good people leading behind him. 5 years of this bright young man with solid guidance behind him. Granted, the young man preferred sex, singing, and acting to actually ruling, but hey,
well,
still better than Caligula.
Yeah.
By far. Seneca and Burrus continued maintaining the stability of the empire while Nero worked on his singing voice and killed people he found annoying.
Right.
But Burrus died a few years after Agrippina in 62 AD. Now, Dio offhandedly, very briefly claims that Nero had him poisoned for being too blunt when speaking to the emperor. That's the only place I saw that, and most people say he probably just died.
Okay.
And Dio like doesn't go into it. He's just like, yeah, he was a bit blunt, and then he killed him. Anyway,
that's it. Continue.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So Tacitus tells us that this was the point at which Seneca's power also faltered. Once Burrus was gone, Seneca kind of whoop. So Seneca requested to retire several times, but Nero denied him.
Seneca was like, I want to go chill.
Yeah, I just want to be done. That's a lot, bro.
No.
So Seneca left the court, essentially, and worked on the encyclopedia and philosophy book for which he is now famous.
Okay.
That is what he is known for. So he's still part of the court, but he's kind of off doing his own thing. Thus, the people holding it all together were gone. And then the Great Fire hit.
The Great Fire.
You might be familiar with the saying, Nero fiddled while Rome burned. That's one of the famous dumb lines that people know about Nero.
No, I don't know that, but I do know of the Great Fire of Rome.
So there's a legend that while this great massive fire that we'll talk about in a second was going on, Nero fiddled and watched. Which is dumb because the fiddle didn't exist. And then people go, oh, well, it was a lyre, actually. Well, fuck you.
Well, that's not a fiddle. So
yeah, and it's not true. But so in July of 64 AD, a fire started somewhere on the Aventine Hill, which is one of the 7 hills on which Rome was built. Now, fires are super common, obviously, all the way up into the medieval era and everything, because everything's made of wood.
Yeah.
And everything's very dry. But this was different. The fire raged for over a week. No buildings were spared. Mansions, merchant shops, houses, temples, everything burned. 3 entire districts of the city were completely destroyed, and almost all were heavily damaged. After 7 days, the fire came under control. Then the winds whipped it back up, and it burned for another 3 days.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Like one of the biggest cities in the world burning for 10 solid days. This was catastrophic.
Yeah.
To say the least. And our sources claim that Nero himself set the fire or ordered it be set. Yeah.
What?
Modern historians highly doubt this.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. There is evidence that Nero was not even in the city at the time.
Okay.
And once he heard about the fire and was like, oh, it's not just a fire.
Yeah, like
it's like a fire.
It's a big deal.
He rushed back.
Okay.
Because he was like 30 miles away.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
So much more sense.
Yeah.
He then offered his palace to those who needed shelter while the city was extinguished and then rebuilt. So a lot of public buildings were opened.
Yeah.
To just be like, you guys can stay here.
Yeah.
So why all the stories claiming that he set the fire? Like, it seems kind of strange that that an emperor would do that.
He doesn't seem like
a madman,
completely irrational. Yeah. No.
He and that's what I was gathering while I read it too. I'm like, this isn't a Caligula. This is kind of a whiny little bitch boy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And when we get to the nicknames, I want to show you a picture of Nero.
Okay.
Because yeah. Anyway, so our sources don't like Nero. They really don't. Later on he starts being mean to the Senate, and the people writing are senators.
Yeah.
And then later on they're Christians. And there's a little bit of Christian persecution in this story.
Never.
So the main reason for all this is that he started out great, but after losing the people, he brought back the treason trials. Without Seneca and Burrus to stop him, he's like, you know what? I think killing senators and stuff was a great option, and we're kind of broke. So,
oh my God, why can't they just go away?
I know.
Who started the treason trials? Who was the OG?
Tiberius.
God, just the worst.
Well, the actual treason trials was Tiberius, but Augustus did something similar where, if you oppose me, we kill you and take your stuff. Yeah, so any opportunity to make him look bad, they took it, and the histories reflect that.
Yeah.
Just like in the modern day, when gas prices go up, it's suddenly the president's fault.
Always.
He
determines
he decided that the price.
He woke up and said, raise them.
The other reason people blame him is what came after the fire. With so much of the city destroyed, Nero saw a perfect opportunity to build a massive new palace complex. And massive is an understatement.
You just build it like in the 3 districts. Like, this is now my palace.
Yes.
This area.
Cleared it all.
Oh my God.
Huge. So I'm going to give you a fairly long quote here from Suetonius describing the building. The following details will give a good idea of its size and splendor. This is known as the Golden House. The entrance hall was large enough to contain a huge 100-foot-high statue of the emperor, and covered so much ground the triple colonnade was marked by milestones. There was an enormous lake, too, like a small sea, surrounded by buildings representing cities, also landscaped gardens with plowed fields, vineyards, woods, and pastures stocked with wild and domestic creatures. Inside, there was gold everywhere, with gems and mother of pearl. There were dining rooms whose ceilings were of fretted ivory, with rotating panels that could rain down flowers, and concealed sprinklers to shower the guests with perfume. The main banqueting hall was circular with a revolving dome, rotating day and night to mirror the heavens. And there were baths with seawater and sulfur water on tap. Yeah. This thing took up most of the center of the city.
So like
square miles.
Yeah. Like just a palace
massive complex.
Wow.
Huge. Now, with much of the city destroyed, you might be wondering how such a massive waste of money can be afforded.
Did he just take rich people's money?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And other things. So around this time, Nero debased the currency by 10%.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, dude. He also created laws about certain freedmen. So I didn't look into it too deeply, but 5/6 of certain freedmen's assets were to be given over to Nero on their death.
5/6?
Yeah. Most.
Okay. Yeah. Let me
Let's
take
say
like
most.
84% of your stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
It's probably pretty close.
Probably pretty close. Yeah. Also, treason trials are a great way to kill off people and take their money.
Right.
Once again, anyone could turn in their neighbor by saying, "Oh, this guy opposed Nero.
Oh my God.
You should probably kill them."
Eric
Got
Cartman
some money
moments.
too. Yes, precisely. And temples had too much gold and jewels. Those belong in the golden house.
No gold in the temple. Okay, gold in my place.
This isn't Catholicism. You don't need all this gold.
That's right.
So while the house was being built in 65 AD, Nero got a bit angry at his wife Poppaea. See, Nero loved the races and theater and all that things. He liked taking part in them and he loved watching them. This was viewed very poorly by the elites, but the commoners kind of liked it. You know, you got to see the emperor enjoying himself at the games. But one night, he stayed out too late for Poppaea's liking.
Oh boy.
What do you think happened when he got home?
She yelled at him and made him sleep in a different bed.
I bet she wished she hadn't yelled.
Oh.
So, a quote from Suetonius, Nero doted on Poppaea, yet he caused her death by kicking her when she was pregnant and ill, because she complained of his coming home late from the races.
This motherfucker.
Yeah. Now, it's important to note that killing his mom and killing his first wife are pretty well established that happened.
Yeah.
The kicking her to death while pregnant is entirely hearsay by Suetonius.
That's up for debate.
Also likely she died in childbirth. And you just,
Yeah.
But it sure is more fun to say that the crazy bastard kicked her to death.
Kicked her to death, yeah.
Yeah. But, he did kill his mother and his wife. So.
Did the child die?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All this craziness with the money, with the house, everyone thinks that he set fire to the city and killing his wife. Senators were over it.
Yeah.
They're sick of this crap. So the good years are done. They had some theatrical weirdo burning down the city, wasting all their money on a palace and killing the elites in treason trials.
Yeah, the only one that maybe didn't happen is starting the fire. The other stuff for sure.
Yeah, right. In 65 AD, a group of powerful men planned to assassinate Nero. They were led by Gaius Calpurnius Piso. He was a popular statesman and orator. The plan was to kill Nero and have Piso acclaimed emperor by the Praetorians. However, a woman named Epicurus got a little chatty about the plot. A naval commander found out and informed Nero.
Oh, boy.
Epicurus was brutally tortured after her arrest, but she denied the allegations, so props to her.
Yeah, wow.
While she was being transported to a second location for some more torture, she killed herself by hanging. So didn't let too much slip. So the plan still went ahead. They would kill Nero during the games, similar to Caligula. It's great when everyone's screaming and cheering because it really covers up all the stabbing and the screaming.
Right.
So Tacitus tells us many involved in the plot actually planned to kill Piso afterwards and restore the Republic. So we still have that kind of plot hanging around. It's like, guys, get over it. This is an empire now. We're still calling it the Republic. But then a freedman in the household of a man named Scaevinus informed Nero's secretary on the day of the planned assassination. Now, Scaevinus was this freedman's former master, freedman being someone who used to be a slave.
Right, yeah.
And so he had kind of good reason to be like, I'm going to report you.
Yeah.
And Scaevinus was soon taken into custody. Now, upon threat of torture, he confessed the whole thing. So Epicurus, this woman, got tortured brutally and still didn't give anyone up.
And then killed herself before
this little
she could.
bitch is just like, you're going to torture me? I give up. Here's everybody.
Like, I'm going to hit you. Okay, no, that's too far. I'm going to...
Yeah. So after spilling the beans, Scaevinus was handed over to one of the Praetorian prefects. There's usually two. This man was Faenius Rufus. He was handed over there for punishment. Maybe not torture, but he's still going to be punished for being part of the plot. But Rufus was in on the plot too.
Nice. Good fail-safe. Well, for the plot, not for
No,
him.
Scavenus narked on him the second he saw Rufus.
Oh my God.
Yep. And with that, the plot was shattered.
Yeah.
Piso was forced to commit suicide along with 18 others, and an additional 13 were exiled for their part. Seneca, despite being semi-retired, was caught up in all this and also forced to kill himself.
Oh.
Yeah. So bye-bye, Seneca.
Well, at least you got your encyclopedia out.
Right. Nero was getting pretty nervous by this point. The people who had once loved him now covered walls with graffiti about him killing his mother, which they really loved and supported at the time, but now suddenly matricide's not cool.
You're right.
And the conspiracy to kill him had run deep, even reaching his Praetorian prefect. So, time to go talk to the Oracle at Delphi, I guess.
I love how the people's reaction to everyone hating them isn't, maybe I'm doing something wrong. It's, how do I kill all the people that hate me?
What can I change about me? Wait, I'm perfect.
Exactly. No, yeah, I am the emperor. Therefore, I can do no wrong. Just kill all the haters.
It's just haters, bro.
Get rid of the haters.
Yeah, if Nero lived today, he would definitely have a YouTube channel where most of it is downvotes, but he keeps posting and saying that the haters just don't understand.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. You don't understand my art, bro. So he goes to the Oracle at Delphi, and this Oracle warned him to beware of the 70th year. So Nero breathed a sigh of relief. He's only 30.
No.
He's got 40 years of reign left.
Yeah, but what year is it?
But this was wrong. It's we are actually approaching the year 70 AD, but that's not what it meant.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's not what it meant.
How do you know? Are you the Oracle?
You're right. Hold on, we'll get to that. So one governor was fed up with the poor rule and these high taxes to pay for some giant golden house in Rome.
Yeah.
While he's off here ruling a province. And it's time to revolt. So Gaius Julius Vindex rebelled with his province in Gaul in either 67 or 68 AD. To gain more support, Vindex called for another governor to be named emperor, not himself.
Smart.
This was a very popular governor from Hispania, Servius Sulpicius Galba. I did mention Galba's name earlier. He's the one that Agrippina tried to seduce.
Ah, yes, the one that denied her advances.
Correct. Now, he was a highly experienced, lifelong disciplinarian who had served as just about everything in government except emperor.
Okay.
He had done everything. Oh, and he was 70 years old.
No, too old.
But 70.
Oh, beware the 70.
Yeah, there it is. So, after not doing much, and we'll talk more about this in the Mastery of Military Might, Nero finally sent another governor to put down Vindex's revolt. The two sides met, and Vindex lost. The rebellion was put down. Kind of. The victorious army then proclaimed their commander as emperor.
Huh.
This man refused.
Okay.
But the growing discontent in the armies was becoming clear.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Galba was named a public enemy because, he made himself emperor.
He started the revolt, right?
Well, Vindex started it, and Galba was kind of like given the opportunity to be emperor.
Like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
But a lot of people really like Galba, and he was kind of safe over in Spain.
Yeah.
And gaining popularity.
Okay.
So he's a public enemy, but so things were looking bleak. Nero had put down the rebellion, but not really. Judea, off in the east, was also in open revolt and had been for a couple years at this point. An uprising in Britain had almost lost Claudius's gains on the island a few years earlier. The state was broke. The city was still being rebuilt because that took years to fix.
Yeah.
And everyone was sick of this music-loving, chariot-riding, poem-reciting douchebag who kept taking their money and killing them. So Nero could see the writing on the wall.
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious, I think.
So Suetonius says, quote, "But when news of Galba's insurrection in Spain arrived, he fainted away and lay there insensible for a long while, mute and seemingly dead." He planned to flee to the eastern provinces where his reputation was much better.
Yeah.
But some soldiers stopped him. And Suetonius says they told him, "Is it so dreadful a thing to die? When word reached the Senate that Nero had tried to flee, they declared him a public enemy.
Ah, yes.
And proclaimed Galba as emperor.
Well, there we go.
Seeing no other option, Nero committed suicide.
Nice.
Kind of, but we'll go into that more in Departing Demise.
Kind of.
All right. So what do you think of Rome's most infamous emperor?
Wild.
Yeah.
Just, honestly, it's rough, right? Being a human, you think about it as like, he was set up for failure. He really was. Like, it's almost hard to blame him, really, when his whole life was just raised by a conniving human, backstabbing, and just filled with all this messed up stuff.
Forced to be emperor.
Yeah, like...
He probably wouldn't have wanted to be, if he had been an adult and been given the choice, hey, do you want to be an actor or do you want to be the emperor?
Yeah, it seemed like he was really into the theater stuff. He probably just been like, I
didn't cover a lot of it, but yeah, he like went on tour and shit.
Yeah.
Like he performed and competed in competitions for singing and acting and everything. Like that was his passion. And to be like thrust into it at 16. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of just pathetic and sad.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. You're like, oh man.
Yeah. So let's get into our first round.
Mastery of military might.
So mastery of military might, for those unfamiliar, it's basically what it sounds like. How well did they do with the military affairs? So right at the beginning of his reign, the Roman client king in Armenia was overthrown and replaced with a Parthian king. Now, if you're not familiar, Parthia is the Eastern Empire adjacent or next to the Roman Empire. Armenia is kind of in the northeast part of modern Turkey, and it's always been the buffer state between the two.
Okay.
It makes their border less touching.
Yeah.
And for a long time, Rome has been in charge by putting a king on the throne of Armenia. That guy just got overthrown,
right,
and replaced with a Parthian king. So this is essentially an invasion of Roman territory.
Right. So like they no longer control that border state.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So Nero called for the levies of the region to be raised, and a general named Corbulo stopped the military incursion by the Parthians. And Nero was likely too young and inexperienced to really be calling the shots on this, but he was in charge when it happened, and they were able to keep their own boy on the throne. Actually, a new boy because the other guy's dead.
Right, but like they're people.
We won.
Yeah.
Next, between 60 and 61 AD, Britain saw a massive revolt. Now, our English fans will likely know the story of Boudica's uprising. It's a very famous one. But
I thought Buddha was all about peace and harmony.
You need to stop.
It was there. I couldn't not take it.
Had to do it. So the island was freshly conquered by Claudius within living memory, because it's only been about 10 years since it happened. And many of the locals didn't take kindly to their Roman oppressors, because obviously the Romans weren't being very nice about things.
Yeah.
The governor, Suetonius Paulinus, was looking for some glory to match that of Corbulo, who had stopped the Parthians. With this in mind, he took his troops across to an island called Mona. According to Tacitus, the island, quote, had a powerful population and was a refuge for fugitives. After cutting down a bunch of druids, Paulinus returned to Britain, only to find a massive revolt had broken out in his absence. We're talking huge. The king of the Iceni, which is a tribe on Britain, had made Nero his heir, along with the king's two daughters. So it's kind of like, you guys are going to share this territory. That way Rome doesn't need to come in and take it. We're all going to work together. It's going to be great. He figured this would protect his family and his land after his death, and he was wrong. The lands were seized, and the king's will was just ignored.
Okay.
Legend has it that Queen Boudica, his wife, was flogged, and their two daughters were raped by the Romans.
Okay.
Now, the bunch of natives lost their lands and wealth, and the soldiers just abused them like slaves.
Yeah.
Yep. It was really not good. The queen was pissed.
Yeah.
So Boudica called in the surrounding tribes and soon had a massive army behind her. And by army, I mean massive mob, like 100,000 strong-ish. Paulinus rushed back to Londinium, which is the 20-year-old settlement that would grow into modern London.
Okay.
It's actually interesting. Part of the original wall is still there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very small amount, but yeah, like it was pretty sweet. Anyway, just geeking out about history stuff. So Paulinus rushed back there thinking, okay, I need to get up a defense and whatever. Now Boudica led her people toward this walled settlement, just burning everything, just
They're
frying
mad.
people.
They're
They are
pissed.
pissed off. She burned several cities along the way too. When she arrived at Londinium, Paulinus, who was a pretty good military leader, was like, okay, I can't win this. So he evacuated, bugged out of there to get reinforcements. So Londinium was burned and everyone killed.
Yeah.
It was real bad. So with Londinium and the two other cities that were razed to the ground, an estimated 70 to 80,000 people were slaughtered. It was very clear at this point that this revolt was not about taking land.
Nah, it's revenge.
It was pure vengeance.
Kill them all.
Call me Batman.
Yeah. I am vengeance.
I am Boudica Man. But a massive mob was never going to be any match for the Roman legions once they were reinforced and ready.
Yeah.
So despite being heavily outnumbered, Paulinus smashed the rebellion shortly after Londinium, and Boudica either died of an illness or committed suicide. And that was the end of that uprising, very famous uprising. Then in 62 AD, the king Nero had installed in Armenia decided it would be a great idea to invade a Parthian province, which kicked off a second war between the two empires.
Okay, good.
But in 63 AD, Nero was in a tough spot. The empire was running out of money, and he's not a military guy at all. So he's like, you know what? I think peace is the option. He signed a peace deal, which to some would have been like, hey, don't be a bitch. But to many, and in modern light, we'll talk about it more in Lives of the Living, pretty good move. Next, the Great Jewish Revolt, or the First Jewish-Roman War. As I mentioned, the Judean provinces were not happy and were in open revolt. In 66 AD, the people of Judea were getting pretty sick of the mistreatment and taxation of their people. I didn't mention it because honestly, I didn't see it in my research until this week. But Tiberius and Claudius had banned Jews from Rome.
Oh,
yeah.
good old-fashioned Jewish persecution.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we're starting off strong. And taxation on this religion was common. There were no other major monotheistic religions in the empire. And their whole thing was polytheism, where it's like, whatever gods you're looking for, go for it. But the Jews, kind of were like, well, we only want the one. Don't talk to us about the other. We're not sacrificing. Blah, blah, blah. So they were weird. Kind of like this weird Christian cult. Who are these Christians?
Right.
What is
We'll
this,
figure it out.
Weird people.
Yeah, we'll get there later, I'm guessing.
So the Jews and the Christians were always just kind of the outcasts. And we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the Great Jewish Revolt more next week because it goes on past Nero's life. But just so you know, Nero put a man named Vespasian in charge of 4 legions and sent him off to Judea to sort it out. Lots happened, but this war carries on past his reign, which ended 2 years later. That was weirdly worded. Nero died 2 years into this war, and it carried on for a few years after that. But Nero put this man in charge, and he won. So you get that credit, I suppose. Now, the Gallic revolt, the one that leads to the end. At first, when Vindex rose up, Nero did almost nothing. He's like, I don't care. I don't really want. But then when Galba got pulled in, it kind of became more serious.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh shoot, okay, maybe I should do something. So Suetonius says that he started preparing for a campaign, and here's a quote: his first thought in preparing for a campaign was allocating the wagons to carry his theatrical props, and since he intended to take his concubines with him, to have their hair trimmed in manly style and have them issued with Amazonian axes and shields.
Okay.
Yeah. And as I said, he technically won this revolt since his army defeated the rebelling army. Obviously, he wasn't there fighting.
No.
But this is where everything fell apart. His victorious army tried to appoint their general as emperor, and Galba was still in open revolt. Then Nero died, so ultimately he lost this civil war.
Yes.
So this is a weirdly mixed bag. And we need to give him a rating out of 10 each for mastery of military might. He didn't do anything himself, but all of the revolts and the 2 wars with Parthia were victories until the last revolt, where he technically won the fighting but just died because everyone hated him. I'm thinking like a 2 or a 3.
Yeah, that's fair, because I don't even think I don't think he had his hands in any of it at all, other than being like, you're the general, take care of it, not even helping planning. I don't think he had anything to do with any of it.
So what do you think? What do you think for a score?
Yeah, like a 2.
A 2? Okay, I'll match your 2.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Because at least like the other ones we've talked about that haven't been directly fighting, I'm sure were involved in the planning, like directly involved in the planning of things.
Right.
And not just like, you take care of it.
Yeah, it's just, you go do that for me quick.
Yeah, I gotta prepare my theater wagon. And
wouldn't want my concubines to feel like not at home.
Right.
While we're traveling to battle. All right, terrific. So that's a 4 for mastery of military might. And on to the next.
Terrible tyranny.
Terrible tyranny. How terrible and or tyrannical were they? So let's take a look. So he killed his mom.
He did.
In a pretty wild way.
Well, long time coming.
And may have had an incestuous relationship with her.
Right.
Yeah. He killed his first wife, Claudia. He also likely tortured witnesses until he could build a very flimsy case of adultery against her. We're just going to torture you until you tell us what we want so that we can kill her.
Yeah.
And then we'll kill you too.
Yeah.
So, okay. May have kicked his pregnant wife, Pompeia Sabina, to death.
But probably not.
Highly questionable. Suetonius tells us he beat up and sometimes even murdered citizens at night while dressed as a commoner. This he may have been doing with his buddy Otho. One time, he even got beaten half to death by a senator after harassing his wife while doing this. Yeah. So this guy probably didn't realize it was the emperor.
Oh, right.
And kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah.
He had actors brawl and attack each other with stones and broken furniture. That was just kind of an offhanded thing that I read in one of the accounts and was like, okay, that's strange. He entered competitions that he never lost for obvious reasons.
Oh.
Singing and acting competitions.
Right.
He brought back the treason trials. Another quote from Suetonius. Thereafter, Nero dispensed with all moderation and ruined whoever he wished, indiscriminately and on every imaginable pretext. Yep. He might have raped a Vestal virgin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a big no-no.
That's a no. He definitely seduced married women.
Yeah.
And certainly abused freedborn boys.
Okay.
2 of whom we know about. One was Sporus, who was probably between 14 and 16.
Okay.
Sporus was to be Nero's wife.
Oh.
This meant Sporus needed to be castrated.
Oh, God.
Following this, he was dressed in women's clothes and paraded around as Nero's new wife. It is speculated that Sporus looked like Poppaea, and he did this out of regret for killing her.
Poor child.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So Sporus looked like Poppaea, who looked like his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a thing. I think that's a kink or something.
Definitely got a type. That's for sure.
So this boy he married where he was the husband and the boy was the wife. Doryphorus was the second one that he married, and this time Nero was to play the role of wife. Though for some reason he didn't need to be castrated.
Well, right. No. Right. Naturally.
There was a quote too about like when I didn't want to include it, but now I kind of wish I had because it's pretty wild. Where when they got quote unquote married, because obviously it wasn't official.
Yeah.
He screamed like a virgin when he was penetrated, and insisted that he would always be as loud as possible while having sex with Doryphorus. Yeah, the weird things that you find while reading about these people. And then final quote about his sexual stuff from Suetonius. He debased himself sexually to the extent that, after exploiting every aspect of his body, he invented an erotic game whereby he was loosed from a cage, dressed in a wild animal's pelt, attacked the private parts of men and women bound to stakes, and then when excited enough, was, quote, dispatched by his freedman, Doryphorus. Yeah. Now,
Wow.
things like that always make me go, really?
I don't know, man. Some really freaky sexual stuff happens.
He was a furry too?
Maybe.
Like, Jesus.
You gotta think about where his mind, how messed up his mind would have to be from his childhood and with his mother. And I wouldn't put it past.
You're not wrong. Being given that much power that young.
Yeah, and also being seduced by your mother, really gonna mess with your brain.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. You're making me think that it definitely could have happened.
Yeah. No. It's,
all right. Well, he may have started the Great Fire of Rome. Highly unlikely.
yeah.
He did start the treason trials back up.
Yeah.
And he used that to kill off threats. And it's just kind of like a Julio-Claudian family tradition.
Yeah, it's just normal. It's
Yeah.
the standard.
Yeah. He also persecuted the Christians, though not nearly as much as a lot of people make out. There are some later Roman emperors who do a lot worse things to the Christians.
Right.
But Nero is kind of held up as the Christian persecutor.
Huh.
Despite Christians being a super small sect at this time. Like,
Was
small.
Nero mostly just like, give me more money or leave?
He blamed them for the fire
Oh, okay.
and then did execute some.
Good scapegoat.
Yeah.
Good.
That's what it was. So those are the main things for terrible tyranny. It's bad, but as we'll talk in Lasting Legacy, I don't know why he's held up as like
The most
when Caligula
tyrannical-
was right there.
Yeah.
Like, again, even if half the things they said about Caligula weren't true, he's still way worse than Nero.
Yeah.
But Nero is the one that most people have heard of and they think of as like the bad guy. So I don't know. Researching him made me go, huh? He's a lot less like evil madman and a lot more pathetic. But he killed his mom.
I
And two
do
wives.
not see killing his mother as a tyrannical thing at all, man. He
Really?
put it off for so long and she would not stop. Like, it had to happen.
It had to happen.
Like, it wasn't like he just became powerful and was like, all right, fuck you, mom, you're dead. It was years. And he was just like, stop. Stop it.
Go away.
Stop it, okay? Public humiliation. Still? Go live somewhere else. Still? I mean, I don't know, man. I do not hold that one very much against him.
Okay. So he killed Claudia,
Yeah.
which is not cool.
Right.
The treason trials, the potential killing of his second wife. So for context, obviously Caligula got a perfect 20. 10 from each of us. Augustus got 19. I gave him 10. You gave him 9.
Yeah.
And Caesar got a 7 and a 6.
Yeah. I'm hovering somewhere between 6, 7, 8.
I was gonna say I think he needs to be a bit more than like right around Caesar level.
Yeah.
Because Augustus was actually kind of a tyrant, and Caligula was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Caligula was
Caligula was
Just-
something else.
man.
So
I'll stick at a 7. I'm gonna give him a 7.
I think that's fair, and I'll also give him a 7, and that puts him one above Caesar.
Yeah, and I'm giving him some just benefit of the doubt of just being so mentally destroyed by circumstance that poor guy.
Yeah. Just kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a 14 for terrible tyranny.
Lives of the living.
Okay, lives of the living. How good were the lives of their subjects? So let's look. So early in his reign, he eased the taxes. He purportedly distributed 40 gold pieces to every commoner. It didn't specify, but I assume this means just in Rome.
Okay.
But unclear. Poorer senators were granted a stipend, and senators didn't get money from being senators. The whole thing was it's a rich kid club, so like you already have to be rich to be there.
Okay.
So this was kind of just a nice way to be like, oh, you're on hard times. Well, here's a stipend so that you can stay a senator. He also granted the Praetorian Guard a free monthly allowance of grain.
Okay.
So I mentioned the wars with Parthia and the subsequent peace deal. So what it was, after the Second War, the new deal was that the Parthians were going to name the king of Armenia.
Yep.
And they had to be approved and crowned by the Roman emperor. So it was like this deal where you guys choose, but we approve. That way everyone's happy. And this, to some at the time was a cop out. Like, why give in and sign a peace deal? But This resulted in 50 years of peace.
Mm-hmm.
That means the only outside threat to Rome for 50 years was not a threat,
Yeah.
which is crazy. That's a crazy good thing.
Great deal.
Like, there is no empire that can stand up to Rome anywhere else.
Yeah.
And the one who can is now, we're good with them.
We're good. Yeah.
Until Trajan comes along. And that boy's
That name stands out too.
he's fun.
Okay.
So, yeah. That's kind of the good. The empire ticked along. But he spent so much money and debased the currency, ruining the Roman economy and depleting the state treasury.
Yep.
A fun quote from Suetonius: Nero thought a magnificent fortune could only be enjoyed by squandering it. Yeah.
Like, what's the point of having all this fortune if I can't spend it all?
I need to get rid of this. This pile of gold. I don't like this.
No, use it.
Yeah. So Nero also preferred to sing and act as opposed to lead and rule. This was fine while he had advisors running the show, but once he kind of was like, "No, I'm in charge," it was like, well, you got to do something.
Like, if you're in
then.
charge, you should do things. Yeah.
And I just wanted to give a note on his singing career from Suetonius. While he was singing, no one could leave the theater, however urgent the need, forcing women to give birth there, or so they say.
Okay.
Many spectators, wearied by listening and applauding, furtively dropped from the wall at the back, so escaped.
Yeah.
Since the doors were closed, or pretended to die and have themselves carried off for burial.
Pretended to die. Jesus.
Just a thing there.
It's like, I can't stand it. I can't.
Yeah. So I also have to give a little spoiler alert. His failings as a leader and his death led to the one major blip in the 200-year Pax Romana, the Roman peace. So we're now in the year of the 4 emperors.
Okay.
That's what comes after Nero.
Gotcha.
So overall, things were okay, except the economy and people hating him led to the one civil war in 200 years. So what do we think? It's, again, a mixed bag. It's not horrible, but it's not very good.
No, and the biggest thing that stands out as like a kind of the biggest FU to the people is just building his massive lavish compound over the ruins of the city. Like,
hey, your home used to be there? My house is there now.
Yeah, like, sucks to suck. I'm going to build a great thing over here for me.
Yeah.
But, you can look at it from afar.
People were allowed in it, actually. It
Well,
was
okay, that
a
makes
public
sense.
compound.
That makes sense. He wanted to show it off.
Right.
But you can't live there.
No.
You just took
no,
up all this
This is my house.
space.
So we gave Caligula 5 each because he just, like, while he was crazy, like, the people weren't really.
Which seems fair.
So there's 3 major revolts in his reign, which says that the people aren't very happy.
Yeah.
And then the economy's going down. I'm tempted to just like a dip below Caligula.
4. Yeah, 3 or 4. Probably 4.
Yeah, especially since he's... Well, I want to give him an extra point for that peace deal because peace with the Parthians is a pretty big... So I might give him a 5. If you want to stay with 4,
I'll
that's
stay
fine.
at 4.
Okay, so that'll be just a little bit below Caligula.
Yeah, economic ruin is still a big deal.
Yeah,
I think.
It is. So that is a 9 for Lives of the Living. He's doing all right, but not great by any
which
stretch.
Honestly is fair. When you look at the circumstances, you're like, yeah, that adds up.
That makes sense. Yeah. So now on to the next.
Departing demise.
All right, departing demise. This is how they died and how interesting it is. So, after trying to flee Rome to the eastern provinces, Nero was named a public enemy by the Senate.
Yeah.
Galba had essentially won, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Nero, hearing essentially that he was going to lose, hadn't heard that he was a public enemy yet.
Right.
Tried to flee again. This time, he headed to the villa of one of his loyal freedmen. They rode horses out of the city, careful to keep Nero's face covered so he would not be spotted. Quote from Suetonius: immediately there was an earth tremor and a flash of lightning illuminated him. He could hear the shouts of soldiers from the nearby camp, foretelling his ruin and Galba's triumph. That might have been Tacitus. I don't know why I don't have the name on here for that quote. But anyway, someone said that. They reached the road to the villa and departed their horses, hoping to sneak in the back of the complex unnoticed. They trudged through bushes and brambles, rain drenching their cloaks as the thorns tore unseemly holes in them.
Seems very theatrical.
Yes. A tunnel was dug under the complex's walls to allow the ex-emperor to go in without being seen.
Wow.
After reaching safety, reality began to sink in. All was lost.
Yeah.
Nero could not carry on. Sooner or later, Galba would catch him and execute him. His freedmen then convinced him the best option would probably be to kill yourself.
Yeah, make it, hopefully as painless as possible.
Right. So Nero ordered his men to dig a massive grave in the back of the complex. And while this was being done, he was weeping, crying openly. And Suetonius tells us that he just kept muttering to himself, "What an artist dies here."
Wow, he really just thought he was the best
He's
thing
the bee's
ever.
knees. Yeah. He that "what an artist dies in me" is another way that's often quoted.
Okay.
So that's another famous Nero quote. Suetonius goes on to say that a messenger then arrived and informed him of his public enemy status.
There you go.
And that the plan was to punish him in the, quote, ancient fashion.
Okay.
So again, Suetonius, quote, asking what that was, he learned that the victim was stripped naked, had his head thrust in a wooden fork. So basically like in the gallows thing.
Yeah.
Or not the gallows, what are those called?
That gallows is right, isn't
Gallows
it?
is where they hang people, but the...
Oh. Yeah.
You know what I'm
I can't
talking about. The
remember.
thing that holds you in place so you can't move. The stockade.
There you go.
There we go. And beaten to death with rods.
Yeah, that doesn't sound preferable.
Yeah, he then grabbed 2 daggers and gently tested them on himself.
Gently?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pointy.
Yeah, ow.
That'll do the job.
Then threw them away and declared he was not ready to die.
Oh, that kind of hurt. Yeah, I'm not going to do this.
And then over the next few hours, he begged Sporus, the man he had castrated, or the boy he had castrated and made his wife, to, quote, weep and moan for him. Yes. He also asked someone else, please, will you kill yourself to show me how it's done?
I need a demonstration.
Please, I don't know how to do this.
Oh, my God.
Then he repeatedly called himself a coward.
Well, okay.
And readied himself to end it all.
That's fair. That's logical.
Yeah. Horses were approaching. They could hear them outside.
Yeah.
They were coming.
It's time to do this thing.
Still unable to do the deed himself, Nero had his private secretary stab him in the throat.
I mean, I just be like, okay, who's the biggest soldier I have here with me, and where's the biggest weapon? Please cut my head off in a clean stroke.
He actually, so I don't have this in here, but since you mentioned it, while reading this, he specifically asked his freedmen to ensure that no one cut his head off. Even after he died, he wanted to be burned full. Cremated as one.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever weird religious fucking ceremonial thing you wanted that for, I think getting the biggest man to just clean slice that head right off would be a good way to go.
It'd be quick and painless.
Yeah.
Ideally, hopefully.
They missed.
So
hit you in the shoulder. Oh, sorry.
Or we just don't know how it works. And once your head comes off, your brain's still alive for like a minute. And you're like,
yeah, but it's cut off from all the neural pathways to your body, so you won't feel the pain.
Oh, thank
Either
God.
way.
So as the soldiers burst in, they found the 30-year-old half dead and bleeding out fast.
God.
He
That
died
sounds terrible.
soon after.
Why did you stab me in the throat? Just do it. Just do it.
Oh, man. I hope to never be stabbed. Just sounds pretty terrible.
God.
Okay. So it's pretty fun death. What do you think?
7.
7, so just solid, like you don't even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 7. It's entertaining.
It's certainly entertaining.
It's not wild, but him as a personality just makes it entertaining.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with an 8.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
pretty. Yeah. It wraps up the patheticness of him.
I know. Well,
so
it just,
well.
Yeah, it just makes me so much more sad to be like, oh, this guy just really got a rough draw in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he became the emperor, but he just really, that just wasn't his thing.
Yeah.
And he just really didn't, just wanted to be an actor.
He just really didn't want to be here. But
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a 15 for Departing Demise. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Lasting legacy.
So lasting legacy.
Yep. Okay.
So he was the last, spoiler, Julio Claudian.
Okay, I didn't see that coming, seeing as the tree is done.
The family tree is done. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't have kids, did he?
You know,
Well,
it mentioned
officially.
it mentioned that he had one with Poppaea, but then I didn't see anything mentioned about them again.
Okay, so they either died in childbirth or died at such a childhood some point in time.
Yeah, because I think it said that she was pregnant the second time when she died.
Okay.
So actually that makes sense too, because she was pregnant right after his mom died, and then later she died while pregnant. So somewhere along the way, there was a kid that I didn't look into.
Right.
So sorry, listeners, I don't know.
Well, obviously isn't that important if they're not part of any of the main history.
Mm-hmm. So more importantly is this lasting image of the man that we have 2,000 years later.
Yeah.
If you asked random people on the street to name a Roman emperor, again, they would say wrongly Julius Caesar, and then Nero the crazy one.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what they would do. And honestly, after learning more about Caligula, I'm so confused.
Yeah, because Nero was just sad and Caligula was crazy.
Caligula was
Crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
And Nero was just a dork.
Yeah. Nero was just like, I don't want to be emperor. I don't want to die. I want to sing.
Yeah.
That sums up him.
Yeah, and it could be later Christian bias. Because he became
fair.
known as the Christian persecutor, but there's not that much.
Doesn't seem like the mainstay of his.
No, it wasn't like he was just like, find all the Christians and kill them. That comes later.
Yeah.
Like a couple hundred years later.
Yeah.
Because right now the Christians just aren't really. Here's a quote, the whole thing mentioned by Suetonius about the Christians. Punishment was meted out to the Christians from 64 AD, a group of individuals given over to a new and harmful set of superstitions. That's it. That's what's mentioned about it. So, yeah, he was mean to the Christians. That's it. Yeah. And you can see the Suetonius writing, 50 years later, still just kind of like, this group. They're kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
They didn't think of them as some horrible scourge or anything. It is likely that his persecution of the Christians, though highly exaggerated, is the reason we still remember him. But there are many later Roman emperors, like I said, who do much worse things to the Christians. So it's like, why? Regardless, he has a powerful, lasting legacy. He is the crazy emperor who banged and killed his mom, then set his own eternal city on fire and played a fiddle that he got from time travelers while he watched it burn.
All right.
Well, actually, he played the lyre.
Okay.
No, stupid person, you are a liar. Ha! Got him. All right.
Yep. Play on words. I like it there. Haha.
So this one again is tough, where his legacy is significant but mostly wrong.
Yeah.
So it's everyone else has had. We had Caesar and Augustus have perfect 20s,
right?
And then Caligula has an 18.
Yeah.
And I think Nero. It's tough. How do we rate that?
It's hard because it is inaccurate.
Yeah,
it's
like he's remembered, but very wrong.
Yeah, you're like, that doesn't make sense when you actually look at any of the history.
Yeah. So I'm thinking middle of the road. Give him a 5 because he is remembered, but not.
I was gonna say 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
you want to go with a 6?
Because people will recognize his name even though they don't know anything, so they don't know they're wrong, but they recognize the name.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So a 5 and a 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a solid 11.
Man. This was interesting. This was a very interesting one to research.
That's really wild that he's regarded as the crazy emperor and Caligula existed. Just like that, or that man literally pointedly knew what he was doing and wanted to just have chaos and just mayhem and just fucking murder and just
depraved.
Yeah,
just bad.
This guy just didn't want to be there.
Yeah, it's just really sad. All right, so I totaled up his score. I'll remind you, Julius Caesar got an 85.5.
Yeah.
Augustus got 82. Caligula 67.
Yeah.
What do you think Nero got?
53.
Wow.
Did I get it?
Yeah, dude, let's go.
Let's go.
Damn,
there was no editing. That was a real-time guess.
That was actually. Now you made them think it wasn't, but that actually was. Oh, my God. Let's move on to the final round and tell him he's not great.
Got him. Yeah. Correct. Correct. Honestly, not great. And honestly, I just want to put Nero the sad man. Just
hold on. We gotta play. We gotta roll the clip.
The Great.
Okay,
Ah,
so
poor guy.
he's not gonna get the title of the great.
No,
Okay.
not even close.
And so you said Nero the Sad. I also, like I said, I want to show you a picture of him. Actually, just come over here real quick and look at him. I want to call him Nero Neckbeard. Because he kind of acts like one, and he actually has a neck beard.
I would call that a solid chin strap as well, you know. That's just funny, but I don't know, man.
So I was actually kind of torn. Like, I was having a hard time coming up with nicknames. So I had like Nero the Poet, which is what he'd want to be.
Yeah, he wasn't.
I really like Nero the Neckbeard, Nero Mama's Boy,
No.
Nero the Unworthy, and you said Nero the Sad, and I also had Nero the Last.
Because he's the last of the
Julio
of
Claudians.
his bloodline.
Yeah. So kind of torn. I don't really know what I want to call him, but Neckbeard made me laugh a lot.
Well, yeah, that one's just funny for
Yeah.
like alliteration.
That
You know?
and it like really makes sense. He's just a dork, sad, lonely dude with mommy issues.
Yeah.
If that's and then he's got he also is noted. If you go look at the busts that I use for the images of these, he's the first one that you can actually distinctly tell that he's someone else. The others all look very similar.
Is this looks a lot like him? Isn't that
That's him.
That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
that is
because
him.
he becomes Nero.
Yeah, Jordan is looking at the sheet with the family tree on it.
What a guy.
Yeah.
No, I really I still want to stick with something about the sad or the misunderstood or the misplaced. Like just this
that
poor,
shouldn't have been there.
this fucking poor soul, man.
Okay, so Nero the Pathetic.
Yeah, that would work too.
Okay. Do you have a strong preference for anyone?
No, I just feel bad for him. I just feel bad for the man.
Can we combine it and do like Nero the Sad Neckbeard?
Sure.
Yes. All right.
That's fine. Oh man.
Let's go.
Just like wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah,
He
wrong
really-
person.
Yeah. His mother should have just left him alone. You should have just left him go to the theater, and then Britannicus could have been the emperor, and it
would have been fine.
yeah,
Everything would have been good.
maybe, you know.
Yeah, probably not. Oh, well, goodness. So we've got No the Great. He's
No.
not going on the Great Wall with Augustus and Caesar.
No.
He's burning in hell with Caligula.
Yeah.
Lowest scoring so far. Not
Yeah.
surprising. And he is Nero the Sad Neckbeard.
Yeah. I think that all adds up.
I think it works. I think it works a lot. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Somehow, this one is going to be the shortest episode.
Which is wild because we thought it was going to be one of the longer ones.
Yeah, I did. But I guess this is the point where we babble at each other while it slowly fades out and music plays.
Yeah, I just can't get over how unfortunate this man's life was. I just can't
it's
imagine. I find myself having more pity
Yeah.
when I get older, just being like, oh no.
Damn this empathy.
This poor soul. Life is just ruined.